So this carbon credits story that we've given millions of acres, what is that? I thought they removed that carbon credits from the agenda.
The carbon credit story is, and I don't say this lightly, it is probably the biggest scam to ever be visited on mankind.
Wow.
Yeah, in history. And I don't take that lightly, in history, in all history. Because it is all over the world, it is endorsed by governments. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody can explain to what it is. Someone will just explain to you that, in fact, why people jump on it is because people just see money moving around, changing hands. Money and stories of money.
Yeah.
Oh, $5 million. Can you show me the actual $5 million? No one can show it to you. So everyone has this belief that it's like how pyramid schemes work.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that it works because fulani alipata pesa, and this kind of thing. And the worst thing is that in Kenya, because of our hollowness of our state, we've taken it into the legislature. Other countries don't have it in the legislature. That's why even the EU government, it was brought into the EU, and the EU Parliament actually voted to discontinue it as an official policy. So, I mean, we cannot have a cabinet paper talking about saying that the government will engage in sugar trade or coffee trade or petroleum trade. So why are we talking about carbon trade at cabinet level? It's because they've created an impression to our government and so many societies in Kenya that there's some free money, that someone will give you money because of that forest. There's no such thing as free money. You have to abdicate, to forfeit use of land to get that money they're talking about, which doesn't come actually. So even
just wait. So what are they saying? Okay, it's a scam, but how are they explaining it? What's the transaction that you give me?
No,
you take my land.
They're telling Kenyan communities and even government that as long as if you keep this forest intact, which you already have, we will give you money. You sign this agreement, this 30-year agreement, to keep this as a carbon sink.
Okay.
For carbon sequestration.
Yes.
Now, the stipulations of that agreement, let's say it's a community-owned land. The stipulations of that agreement is that once they demarcate that area, you cannot graze your animals in there.
What?
If you had houses in there, you move out of there. You cannot fetch water in the rivers in there. You cannot fetch firewood there. You cannot touch that land. So basically, you hand over ownership of that land, except you didn't sell it.
What?
You see? Yeah, you hand over land, and then that's the first part of the scam. The second part of the scam is that the money you are promised does not come.
How do they explain that?
They say that we are still doing audits. Then because you see, it's that same guy is the one who comes and tells you how much he's going to pay you. He's the one who comes and audits, quote unquote. So he's the one who even comes and tells you that one day you don't have enough carbon, or the carbon you have is worth only 5K or whatever. He's the player and the referee. You see, that expression on your face is what our MPs should have had, because it's nonsense.
It is.
That's why you are struggling to understand it. It's nonsense. The carbon trade is nonsense. The carbon trade is absolute nonsense. And the most bizarre thing to me is that, and it's probably the effect of social media, the way social media drives global trends and makes psyops very easy. Otherwise, no one would ever accept something like this. And if someone asks you, like, what do you mean you're paying me for carbon? I don't produce carbon. I don't hold it. It's not tangible. What are you paying me for? So I keep asking people, do you think someone's going to come from the US to come and pay you money for your forest? Yeah. Does he love you? Why should he pay you?
Well, I think we think they love us. I think that
we actually think these people love us.
Yeah.
And then once you've moved out of that land, now in some areas like northern Kenya, they start using it to make tourism facilities. So
but
a guy has a lodge.
Yours, quote unquote.
The land is yours, but he's using it for 40 years for free. And the other thing I also tell these guys that whatever agreement you want to get into with someone, it's up to you. But don't do anything over 5 years.
Yes.
If it's good, if it's working great, you just renew.
Yes. Yes.
Because when you hand over land for 40 years, there will be a baby born who will grow up to adulthood and have a baby. There's one agreement in Laikipia that's actually 50 year.
What?
50.
Gosh, that...
And it involves
you won't even be alive. You who is signing is probably not going to be alive when it's over.
I've even asked some of these young people, how are these 80-year-old elders signing 50-year agreements? The one that's a 50-year one involves a consortium of people that even includes Edward Norton. And you see these things, it's mad. There's a kid born up. There's someone who's born, grows up 2 generations under this agreement in which they had no say. They had no say.
Robbing a generation, basically.
2 generations, not one. You're robbing 2 generations. You'll give your kid a few goats as is the tradition in many of these communities, and he has no place to graze them. And it's destroying the fabric, the social fabric in huge tracts of this country. It's destroying.
The MPs don't know.
And this is the scam. They start from the president. Then the minister says, I don't understand this thing, but the president amekubali.
The president, yeah.
PS says, I don't understand this thing, lakini minister amekubali. You come to MP, when you go to the legislature, see, it's now a political thing. We are the majority in parliament. The chief whip is the one who tells you we are passing this. Ichung'wa amesema. Ichung'wa doesn't know what carbon trading, but he has said we vote for it.
So that's why they always head to State House, because they know it will just...
Yeah, it's top down. In fact, it defeats the purpose of the legislature. I can tell you for free, Imani Ichung'wa does not know what carbon trading is, yet they passed it in parliament.
That's a real scam.
And it's actively impoverishing people. It's compromising climate resilience. And it's very cleverly formulated to remove people from their land. Because when you go to Samburu, the glue that holds a Samburu guy to his land is the livestock.
Yeah.
If he's got no place to graze livestock, he'll have no livestock. And if he's got no livestock, there's nothing he's doing in Samburu. So
it's a... but Wazungu play... I heard somebody saying they play the long game.
They're playing a long game.
So you're moving him to the city to go and work in this and stay in the slum.
He's gonna get a menial job in Isiolo, Nanyuki, or be a dancer in a lodge somewhere.
Gosh.
Or serving drinks in a lodge, or a watchman somewhere. It's genocide. There's no other way. I'm sorry to use the word, but it's genocide. I don't see what's it gonna be. We have to decide as a people.
What? You see, the thing is, we've become so literal. So people think that if a Mzungu wants you off the land, they will come and tell you with a gun. That's what they expect.
Yes.
They don't think it's carbon trading. So now you start trying to explain to them whatever, then they're like, no, but the law, oh, but the contract, oh, but these people are nice people. They came in a suit. They didn't come with a gun the way they came for when my great-grandmother was alive.
Yeah, if it was bad, I get Peter Bungeni. You know, that's how people think in Kenya. If it was bad, even the president wouldn't be supporting it.
Oh, yeah, that one. That government,
and the thing is, the president
is very strong.
Serikali imesema. And the thing is, the president doesn't know what it is. And none of his advisors has the courage or intellectual fiber to tell him, mzee hapa, please tufikirie hivi.
Because now when you say it, even see the Maasai in Tanzania, they were being shot out of their land.
Yes, to make room for conservation programs. It's happening in Congo with the Baka people in Central Africa and Western Uganda. With the San people in Namibia and Botswana. And the government sanctioned violence against them. These guys are playing a long game. And I can tell you that COP28, when it comes, the International Climate Conference, Kenya government, a good proportion of Kenya government delegation will have had their participation paid for by conservation organizations.
You know, I realized after I talked about CBC the other day, I think Kenyans don't expect that kind of, you know, that human level explanation. They expect like teachers' notes, advantages and disadvantages, this law, that law. When you're trying to tell them, no, it's about this guy going for this trip and being told to do, it just, it's like it's
you
too
know,
out of...
I was at this meeting and that's why philosophy is important. I was at this meeting in Namibia.
Yeah.
And there was this guy from Congo, Brazzaville. And he gave a very simple, philosophical explanation. And he said, these people are taking our land and they are saying it's for conservation. And you are giving them their land. Who's its conservation for? How do you give land to someone to use for conservation and then we claim the conservation is ours? People always say that when something comes through parliament, it comes through embassies, through foreign conservation organizations, it comes with white people. It can't be robbery. Because that's why when this land is said it belongs to you, even I can have a title deed in my name. But I have an agreement with someone that prevents me from using that land for 40 years. That's not my land.
Yeah, it's not. For all
it's like I have a logbook of a car, but someone else drives it, fuels it, goes wherever he wants with it. How is that car mine? It's not mine.
But you know,
and an agreement without payment. I'd better sell the land. Then he's given me 50 million.
Yeah.
Now I can even say I've kept aside 10 million for my kids. They watajipanga nayo. Here there's no money. He's taken the land for no money. And because there's no change in title deed, even lands ministry is not aware that this land has changed hands. It still says Mordecai Ogada. So foreigners are owning land in Kenya and foreign interests are owning land in Kenya under the radar completely. Ata KRA doesn't know, so they are not paying tax. You see how bad this thing is?
No. What?
If they were above board, they'd come with money and buy that land, pay stamp duty, pay tax, pay everything, and pay those people. We can say those people they have not lost their land. We say they sold their land. Now walipata pesa. This is colonialism. It's a long game. This is colonialism version 2 without guns, without missionaries, without those torture and all that thing.
You know, I'm getting a headache.
It's maddening. Let me tell you.
How is that? You know what? I'm just thinking, how does that thing make sense? You know, what kind of Kenya do we have where something like that can actually make sense? Because you have to twist your mind to see it as logical. You're the one who is doing the
You are contorting your mind.
work. You have to distort your mind for that to make sense.
In fact, there are many of your own beliefs that you have to reject in order to accept that. But it's very carefully done because, number one, approach first the top high offices.
Yeah.
Approach the president, minister, and all this. Hold meetings in big luxurious hotels and pay per diem. And these our government people will never fail to approve anything if you give per diem. And I'm saying that without fear of contradiction. And once the government people have approved,
yes,
your first visit to Samburu or Nyanza or wherever you're doing it, you come accompanied by the MP or MCA or governor or minister. You're home and dry. People say, even the chief will say, the chief will see some fishy things here, but he'll say, hey, they gave me the county commissioner. Who am I to ask? Immediately, this government was appointed. The PS cabinet secretary, whole leadership of KWS went on an all expenses paid 3-4 day journey round Laikipia and Samburu to see these conservancies, fully hosted, all expenses paid, plus per diem. Who is going to speak against them now? Alikuwa hapa na waziri. They visited those conservancies even before they visited the national parks. The PS visited those conservancies before she visited the national parks that are under her office. The CS Ministry of Environment was immediately taken to Sweden. So they know how to pocket these people. 5-day trip abroad, pay full per diem. From there, nothing. From there, it's mteremuko.
That one you can't fight. Ogada, that one cannot be fought.
I mean, you go anywhere, you find they were there before you and they had a meeting and they gave per diem. And I don't know.
Can't fight.
That's the miasma we find ourselves in.
That's the miasma fight.
And you know, I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of so many people, senior people in the environmental conservation field.
Yeah.
They're constantly sharing things with me. Look, there's this problem. Lakini mi siwezi sema. The CS is already on board with it, so I can't say anything. The PS has already agreed, so I can't say anything. So at the end of the day, these communities where this land is being taken, they are going to have to stand up for themselves. They're going to have to fight, whether physically. Because I know, even for me personally, if I'm losing my home, my birthright, and I'll have nowhere to go, I'll fight. I'll have to fight. And we're ending up with a huge population in this country that have no home. You have a paper claiming you own that land, but it's a conservancy. That's not your home. People from so many areas around Narok are busy living in rented accommodation in Narok town because their land has been listed as a conservancy. And they are being praised every day. They gave their land for conservation.
And yet they were not the ones who were threatening the land.
No. No. It's about taking the land. And I can say that without contradiction, that they're taking the land. They've even set up an office in Calro, the Care Agricultural Research Organization, for They call it livestock sustainability. It's an office tasked with reducing livestock herds in Kenya. Yes.
See, that's what they did to Kambani in the 1930s. And
Yes.
I hear even Trans Nzoia area.
Yes. And it's a funded office to reduce livestock. I sat in the Global Landscapes Forum in Nairobi last month, and these guys from ICRAF stood up and said that Kenya has to reduce its livestock herds because they are producing too much emissions. I was appalled. And there were Kenyan scientists there on the stage with him supporting his position. This guy was German. Even the Calro guy was supporting. Calro, which should be telling us how to improve our breeds and increase our herds. Kenya is not a food secure country. But they know you cannot take land from Maasai people as long as they have cows. First, you need to reduce their herds.
Yeah, then
finish
you can
finish
take
their
land.
cattle, ndio nyakue hiyo shamba.
No, my head can't. I can't. That is too much. It's too much.
Such carefully thought out.
Yeah, evil.
It's a carefully thought out genocide. And you see, the genocides that happened way back, like Leopold in Congo, or Rwanda, or whatever, those ones were war and chaos. This one, it's designed, endorsed, supported, even by the victims. That's why every conservation organization will make the spokesperson, the face of it, be either a Black woman, or even if it's a man, but from a pastoralist community. So pastoralists, immediately they're happy now, they see their brother.
And then they don't want to be told, why are you fighting against each other? You see, that's how ethnicity works. It traps you.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't attack your own.
Yeah. And that's and you see the way even other ignorant Kenyans always talk at you, oh, these people cattle rustling na kupigana is their behavior. Those are very stupid people who don't want to try and understand the problems that cause this fighting. There's no people who have fighting is not anybody's tradition. Who has a tradition of fighting? Land is being taken away from them every day. They have less and less grazing. Their routes to take livestock to market to make a living are blocked. Resource competition happens. When a drought comes, it ends up in fighting.
Yeah.
Then we start using some stupid words like banditry or bandit this. There's nothing like banditry. We have to get to the root of the problem if we are to sort anything out.
To the narrative, what you are saying. It's a narrative.
Yeah, it's a narrative. It's a narrative. Now we start talking about them like they're uncivilized people.
Yeah.
Ati tabia lazima muache. These are outdated practices. You've heard people talk that nonsense. Outdated practices like at cattle rustling. No. People have been pushed to the wall and have nowhere else to go. Instead of chasing the person pushing them, we keep approving more and more conservancies. Show me any spot where there's ethnic strife, and I'll point you to the conservancy. Where there's no conservancy, there's no ethnic strife. Especially in Northern Kenya, because there's this proliferation of guns.
Yeah.
Other parts of the country are peaceful because there are no guns. So it's relatively peaceful. But Northern Kenya, show me an ethnic, any ethnic fighting, I'll tell you, Shida conservancy. I'll show you the conservancy.
So, gosh, you're basically matching what Jemima was saying about ethnicity and how, oh Lord.
It is a Western construct that is used to fragment us because if we are not fragmented, they can't take what they want.
I mean, even, oh Gosh, even the way you're saying, the way they use certain identities to push certain
Yeah.
narratives, what that
Yeah.
does is that it gags you. You can't
Yes, it does.
criticize these people because you'll be told, oh, you're from the wrong community, you're the wrong gender.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it ends.
Yeah.
That's how it ends.
Yeah.
Man,
And
those
even
things are so effective. Yeah. What?
And even when we made the new constitution in Kenya, I was appalled that some of the counties were given ethnic names, like Meru County, Samburu County, Tharaka County, Nandi County, Turkana County. These are problems. These are problems.
Oh.
Get into any of those places and the prejudice is right there on the table. Yeah. Ask anyone how easy or difficult it is for a non-Samburu to get a job in Samburu County, or for a non-Turkana to be employed in Turkana County government. In fact, the highest number of deaths and the highest degree of violence was at the demarcation of boundaries between Meru and Tharaka. I remember there was a lot of deaths. It's a philosophical problem. I mean, imagine if you had a county called Luo County, Kikuyu County, Luya County. It doesn't make sense. Kamba County. It does not make sense. Or Masai County.
Because those are political entities. They are not ethnic ones.
Yes. Because Jemima was saying, like, our ethnic identities, etc., were always fluid. Always fluid in terms of, especially our identity was in cultural norms, but in terms of locations, you could not identify someone's ethnicity by location.
Yeah.
Because we'd move. We were trading, we were intermarrying, we were traveling, these sort of things.
Yeah.
Imagine the distances that pastoralists cover. Yeah,
they must have been moving from sides of Sudan, Somalia, all the way to Mozambique.
Yeah. How many Masais can be sort of purely, if I can use the term, purebred? There's some are bordering Kikuyu, some are bordering Kambas, some are bordering Tarime, they're bordering Luos. In Tanzania, actually, the Luos and Masais border.
Yeah. And share names.
They share names, they trade livestock, people marry wives back and forth from it. Huh? It's like I mean, if you go to Nyanza, the boundary between Kisumu and Vihiga counties, someone has to tell you if I identify as a Luo or identify as a Luya. There are even families around Maseno that would have kids, and it's a very rocky area, so there's not enough arid land, arable land. Some kids would go down the hill to Kisumu and become Luos. Like you have a Luya and his brother is a Luo.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
same father, same mother. They went down there to Tulaimbo and they became Luos. That's my brother, but they're Luos.
You know what you were saying about labyrinth of dishonesty? There are too many layers. I don't even know. And we are not patient to undo all these layers.
And because the dishonesty is based on the narratives. The truth is the history.
Yes.
The dishonesty is the narrative that tells you that guy is a Kipsigis and you are a Luo. And if you look at the home, it's the neighboring home. As in his house is 50 meters from yours. Then suddenly you hear that there's some funny clashes at the boundary of Kericho and Kisumu County.
It's a story. Yeah, it's a narrative.
What do you mean that guy is a Kalenjin? In fact, if you go to places like Sondu, like you look at people from appearance, you cannot see the ethnic identity by physical features is so blurred, you can't tell who's a Kale or who's a Luo. But then suddenly you hear that they are fighting. That means someone is not happy with that fluidity there. It's a very difficult.
That's too complicated. It's too complicated.
And you know, it's like the Africans in diaspora, people like Jemima.
Yeah.
Those are the people who understand. That external view gives them some clarity which we don't have.
Yeah, we don't. That one we don't have.
Like the things, I was just shocked when the things I say about conservation now.
Yeah.
That Walter was saying them in 1973, 72. A guy from Guyana. He was saying in 1972 the things I'm saying today.
Yeah.
Kenya will be a wildlife republic where people will be denied their rights to make room for conservation.
Yeah, he said that, yes.
1972.
But we were cut off the diaspora, I think, because
we were cut off.
Look at Fanon, he was predicting what would happen in the 1961. He could already tell.
Yeah.
How did Africa not hear these guys? That must be some major.
There was a very concerted effort to cut us off and there are a few of these scholars, like there's the Jamaican scholar, Horace Campbell. Yeah. He was one of the contemporaries, Rodney's contemporaries. I met him, and the things he's telling me about Kenya, I'm saying, this guy, the clarity he has about understanding us and Tanzania and Kenya and Tanzania, East Africa and the political, ethnic, whatever issues. We've been cut off.
Yeah,
I think it's because they didn't, you know, they had uprooted Africans and taken them to the Caribbean as slaves. So I think they mistakenly thought that these ones, we have uprooted them. We don't need to try and put them in educational straitjackets and this kind. So they sort of let those guys had space to learn. And those who embraced learning, you see them now.
Tena the Caribbeans. The Caribbeans had judo.
Yeah.
They get
They'll tell you about Africa. They'll tell you about your own country. Now you'll see, hey, this guy has clarity. This thing that's been bugging me, he knew it long time ago. It's because of the lack of the lack of investment in trying to manipulate the education and the education and their interested narratives. You know, there you can't even create ethnicity. Huko hakuna Mkisi. You know, people are taken there as slaves. There's no Masai, there's no Luo there. So they could mix and share and learn. Yeah.
As we can't.
As we didn't have oxygen. We were put in a box. We are like in a box. Now those are the guys outside the box. They're looking into the box. He can explain to you how the box is. As we are in the box, we are in the dark. We don't even know we are in a box. We think this is how the world is.
Because when I was reading Jemima's, I was like, what? Wait, how do you know?
Yeah, because there was that conference there, the political economy of the Black world. This conference at UCLA. Yeah, that's where I met her and also Horace Campbell and these other people.
And they just explained like this.
Yeah, they knew this stuff. They knew this stuff. I thought I'm the one coming to tell people about this. They knew those things. We were now sharing ideas. There was nothing new I was telling people there. These guys knew this stuff. And that their department there is where even Walter Rodney was teaching or learning way back. Yeah, UCLA. They knew this stuff. So even Kenya's intervention in Haiti, they are pissed off about it, but they know exactly why we are doing that. Most Kenyans cannot understand why Kenya is going to Haiti.
Yeah,
talk to those diaspora scholars. They'll tell you this is a problem. We know where this problem is coming from.
That link needs to be repaired. That link.
We need to repair as a matter of urgency.
Yes, it needs to be repaired But you see, now we have we have this diaspora has now been replaced with the immigrants who left Africa after independence. And you see, they are going
Yes.
with these prejudices of
The-
ethnicity and whatever. So they can't even hear, even within the same country, they can't hear each other.
No, they can't hear each other. And in fact, especially, I don't know about other countries, but like Kenyans,
Yeah.
I just remember that when Obama was running for a president,
Yeah.
it was at the height of Luo Kikuyu tribalism after the post-election violence.
After violence. It was
Obama
the following
was
year.
2008.
Yes.
The Kikuyus in the US were supporting McCain.
Republican.
Yes, because of Obama. Obama, who doesn't even know he's a Luo.
What?
I remember seeing that and I'm like, hey, really? That's how bad we are. If anything is to come, grow from the diaspora, it won't be from Kenyans. Wachana Kenyans. We've carried our poison from here and even exported it to those places.
And then we talk badly about the ones who had come through slavery.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so that link has to be repaired, and somehow I'm just even though our youth are not doing as well as they should in terms of learning and reading and all that, I'm encouraged by the way they don't care about this old stuff. They ask you that inanisaidia na nini? You can tell him some tribalist sentiment, he'll tell you kabila inanisaidia na nini. I should, even political candidates are now facing that question. You tell them, I want you to support me, unanisaidia na nini? Which is a very valid question. Why should I support you? They no longer support you just because of your tribe. We are getting there, and we are getting there not so much because of enlightenment, but because of suffering. When I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Hunger doesn't know tribe. And I'm broke.
Petrol is going to 300 shillings. It doesn't
There
matter.
is nobody's getting cheap petrol. If you are broke, you are broke. You are hungry, you are hungry. So politicians are going to end up in this place where you have to unanisaidia na nini? I'm a farmer. I'm a boda guy. I'm this, I'm that, the other. This thing of yours, how is it helping me?
Then they'll bring weapons. That's what the politicians will do. That's how they'll resolve it. They'll resolve it with violence.
Kila kitu na mwisho even, and I think even that might even it might even solve our violence problem eventually when people start thinking, by this violence inanisaidia na nini? I'm just going to wake up tomorrow, I'll be hungry. I'll have even killed someone, I'll maybe even have chased some people from there, but tomorrow I'll just be hungry. I'll just be hungry. It's like I'll still just be jobless.
And then now the land has been taken by those wazungu. And
land na imeenda. Yeah. You are saying that area over there that's our shags. Even he has the title deed. Lakini there's a fence here and I can't even go there. That's why even Magadi Soda, that land which was leased to them 100 years from 1924. You know, imefika sasa. Next year inaisha. Already they've started making moves. Instead of returning it to the Maasai people, they're making moves to make it what?
A conservancy.
Yeah.
Not even try to hide. You know, gosh, me, I don't know what to say because it bothers me that these things we are saying are not obvious to people.
Yeah.
We are seeing them, but a lot of people won't see it. And it's not because they are stupid. It's engineered. It's engineered ignorance.
It's engineered ignorance because they tell you are an elite. They tell you what you might be. They make sure they take you to school, whatever, so that you are qualified. No one will say you are not qualified. So it's like in the conservation field, especially in the civil society, the conservancy, even the conservancy umbrella bodies. Everybody in leadership is Masai or Samburu from pastoralist community. And I'm not saying they're not qualified, they're qualified. But it's very hard for them to see that they've been put there because of their ethnicity, the importance of their faces. Whenever someone's about to question something, he'll talk to them in their language. Whenever someone's about to question something, but he's my cousin, but he's my brother. The other thing is also Black women. There's blackwashing in conservation now, and it's being done with Black women. The worst organizations are all scrambling to get Black women onto their staff as their face, as their spokesperson. Qualified, yes, but it's very hard.
It's not about the qualification. Now, you see, that's what we started by saying the first conversation we had. It's no longer about the qualification. It's about the narrative. How do you fit in this narrative?
Yes. The conservation organizations that are pushing birth control most aggressively, Black woman is the director. So you can't
criticize her.
Hey,
you don't criticize.
And then
they've known how it works. They've known we can't say anything.
What can you say? What are you telling us about women's rights and our director is a Black woman? What are you telling us about racism and our director is
African?
The director we have is Black. So, and it becomes very hard. And you know, they put these trappings of big SUV, big office, big salary, I mean huge salaries, flying all over the world, business class, etc. And they praise you relentlessly. Most of them have qualifications. But what they needed there is a Black woman. That's why they don't want any ideas from you. They give you ideas. You go and say this. You go and meet the king. You go and say this in COP21. You go and say that human population is too high in your country. So when someone criticizes the human population in Kenya, if it's a Black woman, you know, the rest of us, we don't even know what to say.
Man, they've gagged us like that. Man, I've now understood it. You can't criticize now. They've known. When you see these identity politics, you'll be told you're elite, you're a woman, or you're a man. You can't.
And you know,
the issue, you can't.
And you know, in Kenya, they have some social engineering going on, probably AI driven, that relentlessly drives this gender war. If you look even on social media, there's
on Saturday. On Saturday, when people are free, they're not at work. So you know how you're leisurely looking at your phone, then you just see all this bile, and then you just
there's all this bile. I mean, even the most innocuous things are now colored with this gender war. And I'm saying, and I keep telling them, stop following this stupid gender war, when in the West right now, they're even eliminating gender as a thing. And here we are, they are pushing us to fight because they have to fracture that society to exploit it properly. We need to wake up to this thing that what they want is our resources, the ground we live on, the water we drink, the water we swim in, the animals that share these things, the wood, the minerals underground. They want, but to get all that,
our ideas, because they want us to do that work of delivering our resources to them.
Yes, because again, because of the capitalism, Western capitalism enjoyed untrammeled success from around 1950s to maybe late 1990s, before the decline started. And you know that period of untrammeled financial, military, economic power and intellectual power, it produces deadwood.
The boomers.
Yeah, it produces deadwood. So now ideas zimeisha, they need to come here for ideas, human resource. It produces deadwood who are selfish, greedy, selfish, greedy, and can't build anything. They just take. So now they have to build something new. And where do you get it? It's Africa. That's where healthy people are. That's where ideas are, resources, energy. Etc. Yeah, and they're coming for it. But to do that, you have to fragment these people first.
So that they don't see when not only when they're taking the resources, but when they're using you to deliver those resources.
Yes. Once you fragmented, you take one and say, now you are our guy. You give him a big job, big salary. Now this is what we want you to do. This is what we want you to do. When we want to be brutal to Africans, put an African there. You want to oppress African youth, put an African youth. Yes. So I kept asking,
you have a cabot army to say, if I criticize my fellow youth, it's because I'm jealous.
You are sexist, jealous.
I'm this.
Yeah. Misogynist, nini.
Yeah. So you spend your time. I had a black British journalist say, you spend your time keeping on saying, I'm not saying this, I'm not saying the other, I didn't mean this. That's how that's all you're saying. You're not saying what you actually want to say. You're saying what you're not saying.
Yes, you are explaining yourself, and that finishes your oxygen, kabisa.
Yes.
By the time you finish explaining yourself, you've even forgotten what you wanted to say. Or you don't even have the energy to say it anymore. Oh, I'm not this. Oh, I'm not this. There was a time I used to keep fighting with people and telling them how I'm not racist. Did I say, you think I'm racist? Sawa.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, because of the big conservation lie. He's a racist. He's a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. And I kept telling you, no, I'm not. And then I realized,
I meant this, I mean the other. When I'm saying this, I'm not saying this.
Yeah. Once I stopped talking about those things, I realized now they didn't have any other way to get the conversation away from the issue. And now that made things a lot easier.
Wazungu are good at these guys.
It's the long game.
They play the long game. They play it long.
But you see, other African countries have woken up to it. Kenya is the one. Kenya is still. But we were, we are still so in love with those myths. You know, how many Kenyans keep saying like, Kenya is the economic powerhouse of East Africa. Where?
By the way,
Danny, which one? Where? Yeah, we are better than Uganda. We are better than. Have you gone to Tanzania?
That's better than narrative.
Better than? Have you gone there and seen what they have? And we are fed these myths from out there. Like now we feel so good because the King of England came here.
First. We were privileged.
First. I had to correct someone online who was saying like, wow, this is a history. The first visit by a sitting monarch. I think Queen Elizabeth came 3 times as queen. You see, you are so in love with the narrative, you don't even want to Google to check if it's actually real.
Because you don't want it to let go.
You know, Kenyans, we have a disease. If someone praises you, or if someone praises you, we are so vain that we can't even admit to ourselves that thing is not true. No, we've got a long way to go. So the saddest thing is so many people still don't know where we are. They think we are moving. They think we are functioning. They don't know where we are. That's why Kenyans are so terrified even to talk about the issues around Israel. If you ask any Kenyan about it, they'll tell you, they start quoting the Bible. They start quoting the Bible because they don't want to talk about the history. They don't want to talk about the politics, the issues. They start saying, according to the book of this, and I say,
I don't know. Anyway, I've been bruised a lot for talking out, so sometimes I just think, well, maybe it's just better to keep quiet.
No, the thing is, we say some of these things and you keep quiet and you watch them, but when they come to pass, never fail to remind someone that I told you this thing.
Told you so.
That's one thing. Don't ever fail to remind, hii kitu nilikwambia. Hii kitu nilikwambia. And it's coming to pass. Like the carbon trading thing now, even people enter into agreements and they ask me and I tell them, like, no, anyone who respects me, you'd ask me about this before you enter the agreement. Sign. I've been saying this for the past 5-6 years. You enter into agreement and now you start saying the agreement. I think now, and even people want to argue with me that this thing is good for us. You think it's good for you? Enter into it. I'll be here. I'll be here once you've seen the truth about it. But you want to sign it, you sign.
But experience is a very painful teacher.
It's a very
if you have to learn everything by experience, you're going to pay a lot. It's a very expensive lesson.
History na kuchapa kiboko ingine mbaya sana. History teaches harsh lessons, but you must learn. It's the only way some people will learn. It's the only way some people will learn. I mean, why would you sign a 50-year agreement for anything?
Anything. I mean, even me, I wouldn't. Even my mortgage.
Yeah.
Why would I sign a 50-year?
Why would you sign 50 years for anything? I say sign 5 years. Hata kama ikienda sana 10 years. If it's a great agreement, very good. Renew it. You can even renew it 10 times.
Yeah.
Because I tried explaining, you see, if you sign a 5-year agreement or even 10-year agreement, at least the guy who was a kid when you signed it has grown up by the time it's expiring. He can now contribute his ideas. Should we extend this or should we let it go? And I told him one thing, nobody has enough money. Nobody has the money to hire lawyers and this kind of thing. So you sign a 5-year agreement. If you don't like it, you don't have to go to court. You just know on such and such a date in Mekupa. On such and such a date reaches, you tell the guy, now go away. You don't have to go to court or anything. But it's a 50 years agreement and it's legal. It's legal, perfectly legal. As bad as it is, it's perfectly legal. You want to get out of it, you have to go to court. You have to pay damages. He'll tell you, I've invested $5 million to build this lodge. Can you pay me back? That's usually the hook. They build a lodge which they overprice. Those lodges are not even advertised. So the lodge, in fact, it makes losses. It makes losses. That's why when they say we are paying you a share of the profits, you get nothing because there's no profit. And that's why also KRA gets nothing from those lodges.
No, so let's look for perfumes in people's bags. That's how they make money.
Yeah.
The pettiness of KRA has just shocked me.
KRA doesn't know that money is here in conservancies. You're looking for perfume in someone's bag na kuna carbon trade money hapa.
By the way,
KRA carbon trade iko na pesa. You're looking at my 10-year-old camera, mnafungua bag, mnaangalia my old camera. You're looking at my two t-shirts I've bought for my kid. No, Lisa. No. And so these lodges end up, in effect, they're actually homes. It's just a home. The guy lives there. It's a home, rent-free home on a 30,000, 40,000 acre wildlife habitat with elephants and everything, rent-free.
Like you've explained, it's the whole setup that makes it very hard. Yeah, because they're not just coming straight from nowhere and coming and say here, sign here. It's that they've gone through a whole process. By the time they reach you, it's so hard. If you're not thinking ahead, it's so hard for you to say, but wait a minute. And that's the
Yeah.
part
And also,
Kenyans don't want to hear when you try to say in advance, this is where this thing will go.
they play the long game. I mean, a couple of years, not this election, but the previous one, the CEO of NRT was running for parliament.
Oh, a Kenyan.
Yes, Tom Lalampa.
What?
Luckily, he failed to capture the seat.
Yes.
But imagine if they had now their guy in parliament. Kwisha sisi. Kwisha. Imagine if they had their guy in the house. And on the board of every conservancy, the local MP, the local MCA, any even senior civil servant from the area, they always capture the elites and make sure they're on those boards.
That's a lot of money they have to dish around, but I guess the benefit pays off. Eh?
No, it's because of what they're buying is it's worth far much more than what they're spending. Because they're using these lands to greenwash. And those we are now talking tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So if you spend 50 million Kenya shillings up, it's a small change. It's small change. The greenwashing dollars are in the tens of millions. And all the big tech operations are greenwashed in Kenya. Some in Taita. You see that thing which came out, KHRC. That Kenya human rights thing in wildlife works. Big tech being greenwashed there.
But you know what you're saying, it requires a knowledge of the world beyond Kenya. That's not, we don't do that. We don't even do knowledge of Kenya beyond our ethnic groups. So it's very hard to explain those things to people. And
I tell people, you have to use what I can call native wisdom.
Yeah.
That says there's nothing for free.
Exactly.
There is no way someone who is not my brother or husband or wife, whatever, has gotten on a plane from America to come to my village in Kenya to give me money. There is no way. Are there no poor people in America for him to give money? I mean, just tell people to understand that. And even things like even purchase of things people give money for. Even if you're investing in something like stocks, someone told me like there's some of these very old shows and gukas who invest in the stock market. And I thought, how come your grandparents are so active in this thing? And what they used to judge what to invest? He said his grandma says, I only invest in a company that I know what they make. So naona East Africa breweries, najua wanatengeneza Tusker, na ninaona watu wakikunywa. If you say, I don't know, East Africa Industries, najua wanatengeneza Omo, Blue Band, nini, na ninaona watu wakinunua. So if I know what I'm investing in. But if you tell me something like, I don't know, Bitcoin ni nini, na iko wapi, na inatengenezwa na nani, na inanunuliwa na nani. It's simple, those kind of things. If money changes hands without any goods or services, that is criminal. That's laundering or robbery. It's as simple as that. And even for people who can't understand the greenwashing, I just ask them, kwani anakupenda aje amekuletea pesa ya bure?
But we believe, see, we have donors and philanthropists, and we always defend them. So I think,
and the problem is,
it's even if you tell someone just think that way, then they are also remembering, oh, there was a donor who came and built a school, there was a donor who dug a bowl, a donor who did this. So I think that's where it gets stuck. It gets stuck.
Yeah, then
so that even if you tell them, you think these people are giving you for free, they remember the donor. Because that's what they know. The white man who said that school fees.
Alituletea hii na hii.
Hey, that you see, and that the connection between those two things is what is not allowed. You're not allowed to connect those two stories.
They've insulated that. There's a barrier of knowledge barrier somewhere there.
There's a barrier there. So when you're talking about these carbon credits, that's a separate issue. When you're talking about the money they are making, that's a separate issue. To put them together.
Now the buzz everywhere. Pesa ya carbon. Everywhere say pesa ya carbon. Hii pesa ya carbon. I ask people, okay, pesa ya carbon. Wewe umeaiona mtu amepewa hiyo pesa ya carbon? Ati hapana, lakini tuliambiwa ati pesa ya carbon inakuja. Kwani inakuja iko wapi? And I tell people, just keep it real. You in fact, that guy, I told, if someone's coming, if I want to do a deal with you even to buy this goods, see, come with the money. I can't come and start talking that I'm going to pay you 5 million for these goods. No, see, I come with the money. Amekuja na pesa, basi alete hizo pesa. But yeah, it's a mixture of the money and that belief that some of these guys love us.
Yes. Where in Kenya do we talk about the West and its attitude towards us? We don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
In fact, we believe we are
Look at how the king was welcomed. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So
we believe there. Yeah.
That story, when you want them, it will just go in the air. Your words will go in the air and they will hit nowhere. They will not land on the ground. They just fly. You see, your words have to also resonate with what they are seeing, and they can't see it because it's been blocked.
They can't see it.
Yeah.
No, it's been blocked. Whether movies, books, it also that it also that savior narrative.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of hard.
It's hard. I mean, that's why Kenyans prefer not to think. Thinking is it's work.
Yeah,
it's work. It's so much easier just to chill and just go with the flow.
Hey, but you pay heavily later on. The price is too high.
You pay. The worst thing is that you pay, then your grandkids pay. You pay, then your son pays, your daughter pays, your grandchild pays. Hey, that's the bad thing. That's the bad thing. It take responsibility. If you want to sell your land to this guy, sell it to him in the formal, official way and get market value. Then you say, okay, you sold land, you took money, you did this with it. Someone comes with an agreement in English, in legal English. Then you're showing me that some villagers signed it. Non-English speaking villagers. An agreement saying whereas this, you know that legal language.
Yeah.
Afford to mention. Then at the signatory place you reach, you see thumbprints. Then on the board you see MP.
But it's because maybe it's your cousin or your neighbor who brought those things. Yeah, that's why. So you're becalmed and you don't know how to tell your neighbor, hi, Anna, I'm not signing this. That's I think that's how ethnicity, why they constructed it. It was so that we disagree with each other.
Yes, and you don't know how many of these Mzungus go around telling people, why is this Mjaluo coming to tell you about things in Samburu?
Yeah.
This is an outsider. And you know the guy saying the Mjaluo is an outsider is an American. Me, I tell these people, okay, me, I'm an outsider, but my place is about 5 hours from here. You reach my
Where
home.
is he from?
This guy is from another continent, and he's the one telling you me I'm an outsider. Sawa, you want to believe him? Sawa. Ye ndio ndugu yako. Mjaluo sasa ni wambali. Ye ndio ndugu yako, huyo wa Amerika. Utajionea tu.
Man, they caught us.
They caught us. People are told, there's no wildlife in Nyanza. What is this guy telling you about conservation?
Caught us.
Said, oh, okay, sawa. Yeah. And at the end of all that, They come back. Oh, this guy is doing that. I said, now what am I to do?
Yeah.
What can we do? They come with all the most outlandish, ridiculous schemes. You accept them all. Because there are two beliefs. Mzungu ni mzuri, then Mzungu akona pesa, so he cannot be needing to rob me.
Yes.
You see?
He's too
He
rich
cannot be calling me because he's rich. He's rich. Why should he call me?
He's too rich to steal.
He's too rich to steal. Bas.
We are
Anaiba ya
familiar
nini?
with that narrative.
Hmm? Hmm? He's too rich to steal. Huyo mtu anaiba ya nini? Akona pesa yote ako nayo. Why should he want my small land in this, my kashamba in this arid area? Na yeye ametoka Amerika huko kwote. Hakuna pesa. Kwanza kuna dollars. Hii shamba yangu anataka nini?
Hawajui. The way American economy is not doing well.
Utajua ujui. That big country and everything it has is owned by a very small number of people.
Very, very small number. People are really suffering. They are really suffering.
These ones are escapees. Yeah.
Really...
The guy coming here is an escapee. He said, wacha niende nijitafutie kwa Afrika. Hapa ni ngumu.
Anyway, okay.
Sawa.
Thank you so much for your insight.
Not at all.
Yeah, we'll meet soon again.
And a lot to unpack.
Yes.
But let's see how it goes. Okay, you have a good evening then.
All right. Thank you.
Ciao. Okay, bye.